Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm Brendan Lee. In this video I want to talk to you about Kundalini, Chi, Chakras, etc. Cool, thank you. This comes again from the forum. Tom writes, "Hi Brendan, thanks for all the info you put out." Hey, you're welcome. I would love to hear your thoughts about Kundalini, Chi, Chakras, etc. As I imagine you come across those stories and possibly experiences frequently in your contemplation and martial arts practice. You covered this a bit in your video about psychic powers, but I would appreciate it if you could expand. Thanks so much, Tom. Hey, yeah, I can expand, or I can give you something. I guess one of the things for me to start by talking about is in the work that I do with people and also myself, but then as I go and I look around and I take a look at the world and what's out there, there does seem to be a I looked up Kundalini, for example. And if you look up Kundalini, I get a Wikipedia article telling me something about a reference to some sort of belief system where the energy that is there's some universal energy that's in your body. It's coiled up at the base of your spine, and the job of Kundalini through mantras and yogic practice and other things is to release the energy. So then it is most oftenly, and then also now the energy is linked to some spiritual awakening. So if you have a release of energy, then now people are probably putting this together with spiritual awakening. And so then that is the highest level of attainment, I guess, in Kundalini. And it's linked up to some spiritual stuff. A spiritual awakening. And so I read this. And I can tell clearly, okay, good. So what? You have some sort of spiritual awakening. It falls within the domain. Here we go. Blah, 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 blah. Spiritual awakening, very much significance, right, for people. Where does that happen? Blah, 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 blah. It happens in some form of experience. Some form of experience, right? Now, you could also take a look at Chi. I'm not putting these together, by the way. You have Chi, there's energy, it flows through your body, you can manipulate it, and then you probably Chi linked with chakras, perhaps, and you feel the Chi flow through your chakras, and blah, 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 blah. What's actually occurring again? Where does that actually occur? Some form of experience. You do stuff with chakras, like chakra meditation, you focus on the root chakra with a particular color, and you focus on the chakra in your belly with a particular color. You focus on the chakra in the solar plexus and or whatever. And what are you left with? Well, some form of experience again. Now, I know that doesn't really point to much. It's just pointing out, well, yeah, that's obvious. So you might say, well, that's obvious. Who the fuck cares? Yes. Cool. Thank you for sharing. So one of the things that I do with that is all forms of experience are nothing more than forms of experience. They could be good experiences, they could be bad experiences, they could be weird experiences, they could be profound experiences, they could be ignorant experiences, any experience. They could be death, it could be life, it could be whatever. Again, it is an experience, and if you have an experience plus a certain kind of meaning, then that will be your experience. An experience, something happens, like, oh my God, say Kundalini, for example. What's it say? It says, well, you feel a rush up your spine, an energy rush up your spine. All right. Some people probably attach significance to that. The truth of the matter is, as far as I can tell, you have a rush up your spine. Good. Does it cook you fucking eggs? Does it get your groceries? Does it make you smarter? Does it help you have better relationships? Is there any function for that other than you feel something go up your spine? And then you go, oh my God, I have a Kundalini awakening. Now I must be somehow spiritually significant. And again, where does spiritual significance happen? Only in the realm of experience. Again, see, I'm coming from the standpoint of what we call enlightenment. Or being conscious of something absolute, which is there is no experience. All experience is relative. The absolute is not relative. There is nothing relative. You see? And so if then somebody is trying to equate Kundalini with enlightenment, they're wrong. They're trying to equate some sort of form of amazing spiritual awakening. Like I keep hearing people here and there, like, oh my God, I've had a spiritual awakening. I'm like, yeah, and? Are you a better person? Again, does it get you food? Does it help put money on the table? What? You're all of a sudden free? You've had some catharsis perhaps? And so where I'm coming from with this is it's all the significance that people put on things, and then they live in the world. This is where my gripes come in. Here's where my gripes come in. They take something that happens that is unusual, perhaps, some experience, and then attach some meaning and significance to that, and then that whole thing is wrapped up and then believed to be true or something other than it is. And then their life becomes about the belief of something that was significant. When the reality is, it's just another experience. And it's going to go away at some point, and you can't explain that. And so the thrust with the work that I do, and more specifically in this video, or at least this point right now that I'm making, is toward consciousness, which is understanding what's what. What is really going on? What is really the truth about that? Because I tell you, in deep sleep, you likely don't give a fuck about Kundalini, for example. It's only in I'm awake and where I can make sense of things. And that's when Kundalini is a thing, But now, in typical, as we might say, typical Ralstonian fashion, it'd be like, well, you're just poo-pooing things. I tend to poo-poo things. Or I don't give a fuck. Now, you can give a fuck about Kundalini, especially if it helps you in your life or if it does good things for you. Go ahead and do it. That doesn't, it doesn't matter just in terms of being directly conscious. There's nothing that matters about that. So I don't want to support people in combining things Kundalini means that my chakras are this, and then my chi is like this, and then they make a cosmology about it all, and they wrap it all up into one big thing about the way the world works, and then if things don't add up to how they think it works, it upsets them, and then they go about their life really struggling to, align with the right Kundalini energy and avoid the bad stuff, and then they die. Having spent an entire life believing in something that somebody else told them, and not really discovering what's true. If you want to discover what's true. If you don't want to discover what's true, that's fine too. Most people don't. In fact, 99.999% of people don't want to know what's true. They want to believe what's true. Because it's much easier to believe than to actually get it. All right, so now, what are my thoughts on Kundalini? Well, I guess you heard that. If you want to go for the truth about Kundalini, because I don't know, I would investigate, take a look in your experience, and, all right, what about Kundalini have you heard from somebody else versus what is your experience? What do you actually experience when you do Kundalini, minus all the crap, all of the, there's something that somebody's called about Kundalini, but as far as I can tell, say via Wikipedia, they say, well, there's a universal energy coiled in your spine. Who the fuck said? Where did that idea come from? And Okay, if you have universal energy, like for example, right? I teach people Tai Chi. We do a bunch of that stuff. I have done. And if you tell somebody that they have universal energy locked up in their pelvis and have them really focus on that, and tell them it's coiled up, they are going to create an experience consistent with that. No shit. Oh my God, I can feel it. Yes, that's your Kundalini. Okay, good. But as far as I can tell, the reality of the situation is you've made up an image. We call it a feeling image. You've placed it somewhere in your body. You've made it have a shape. It's coiled up. And then you attach a belief system about its Kundalini. And if you release it, then you can have a spiritual awakening. Okay. Cool. Then your experience will match that. Does that mean anything? In my experience, no. Because meaning, again, if you take a look at meaning, it's something you make up, apply to your experience, something happens, what's the meaning? And then meaning. All meaning is made up. Yeah. Not everybody's going to agree with me on that, but it's the truth. If you want the truth. If you want to feel good, do some Kundalini. All right? Now, the truth is also, you can create stuff. That is powerful. That's also that's also seems to be what's going on here. So if Kundalini has some power for you, good, use it. I don't care either way. Right? So now Chi, along with Kundalini, same sort of deal. It's like if you want to have Chi, do that. Flow Chi through your body. Imagine that you have a blue light energy shining through your arm, out a finger. And do that and concentrate on that. And I guarantee you, if you do that, you'll start to feel it. Right? Oh, right. Backing up here with the Kundalini stuff. If you want to investigate, and then the same with the Chi, like basically this whole video is the same sort, it's going to be the same kind of theme here. Take a look at what actually happens. Okay, if you imagine coiled up energy in the base of your spine, and then do stuff to release that, and then you have a shock wave up your spine of energy, what have you got? A shock wave up your spine of energy. What form does that take? You know? Do you hear it? Do you see it? Do you feel, you feel it, right? Or whatever. Same with Chi. You know, what actually happens? If you cut the shit, what have you got? A feeling. All right, cool. Looks like you can have a certain feeling. Now, does that feeling do anything? Is it good for anything? What does it actually do? Can you move objects with the feeling? Does it create a state of mind that is beneficial? Do you feel a little more free? Do you feel more grounded? Do you feel more present? Do you feel more aware? Do you feel more powerful? You know, what's actually happening in your experience? And then you could also ask, like digging into it, pulling it apart perhaps, like what meaning do you apply to this? Is there some meaning about your spiritual significance or some level or hierarchy or where you are in a spiritual spectrum? Good. What's meaning? What is that particular meaning about, and why are you attaching it to this feeling in your body? See, and now you're getting perhaps a little more conscious of what's actually occurring experientially. Like, what is really going on? Because I tell you, if you have a shock wave up your spine, and then you had a different belief system about that, maybe it's, oh my God, it's actually, they talk about shock waves up the spine in some occult devil worship stuff that is apparently really positive and powerful towards women. So then you would have a feeling up your spine, and if you had a belief system about it that is consistent with devil worship, now the meaning is totally changed. So if you can change from one meaning to another, what does that say about the meaning? Right? Or wrong? Like what's the meaning? What's going on with meaning making? And we notice we can create all kinds of meaning, and then you can tell the truth about that. Right? Okay, same sort of deal with Chi and chakras. You know, investigate. Like, what do you actually have versus what has somebody told you that means? Because if you didn't have somebody telling you that meant something, what would you be left with? Well, a feeling in your body that you could somehow manipulate. Cool, you can manipulate feelings in your body, which you can. And, like if you focus, say, on your center, the center of your body, and focus your feelings and attention there, it will change your state of mind. Cool, and that could be like focusing on the center chakra, or whatever they call that, and if you turn it a different color, that will likely have an influence on your state of mind as well, and I've noticed this to be the case. Oh, so then that is you can't really mess with that byproduct. You focus on a feeling in the center of your body, things tend to calm down. Why? I don't know, just seems to go down that way. If you focus on thoughts in your mind that are located in your head that are disturbing, guess what? You'll be disturbed. See how that works? And then you can start to recognize the occurrences, what you're creating, and the consequences of creating those things. And now you can be more aware of what's occurring, right? So that is, let's see, so, yeah. Those are some of my thoughts on the matter. Again, the thoughts I have, what I've said, pretty much worthless in terms of you discovering anything. Because more and more, as I go about, I keep seeing stuff out in the world where, look at Sadhguru, for example, on YouTube. Millions of fucking followers. Leo Gurus, 1 million followers. People who are popular. Most of that is likely people who follow them. I follow you, which is to say, I like what you say, it agrees with me, good, I'll follow you, I'll listen to you. I look at the state of the country also, it's like the people just believing shit. And sometimes people are literally believing in shit, but that's another story, okay? Real shit, real disempowering crap. Stuff that doesn't even empower people. All right? But and look at history. I'm also listening to the decline and fall of the Roman Empire. I don't know what the fuck's going on there, but it's just emperor after emperor is doing bad stuff, and then they keep the people in line, and then people tend to be kept in line via some sort of religious belief system. And it's like that locks their behavior in place and very smooths everything out. What is that about? You see, it's about believing in something, that they think is worthwhile, but it's a belief. And then it's okay, a fixed thought about what's true, but it's not actually true nor verifiable or anything. I just believe that, and usually it's something that somebody else said. So now, for example, in this, as I come back around again, I've just told you a bunch of shit about chakras and Kundalini and Chi and all that. Now that's my stuff. Ultimately, who the fuck cares? Use it to help push you to investigate, help push you to discover stuff for yourself. Now you're thinking for yourself, not for me or what somebody's said or told you and all that, you see? Yeah, so that, again, that's a strong invitation in my videos. Otherwise, it's just worthless drivel. It's just me talking about stuff. Now, well, actually not necessarily. Sometimes the things that I'm saying is on purpose toward freeing you up from locking in place or trying to push you to discover what's true, so then you break out of stuff that isn't true, essentially. See? Which that's like belief systems are all about not noticing what's true. It's about believing what's true. It's not about getting what's true for yourself. It's about believing something somebody else said about what's true. See, but the people that actually discover what's true, well, they go ahead and do that. So you do that. Now, I wanted to say something else. So now, drawing from my experience running contemplation intensives, check the links in the description. We do those, where you can have big breakthroughs in consciousness, real ones, not just bullshit. I have seen people, many people, they come in, they have some sort of spiritual background, they go through these workshops, they have some experience happen, and they mistake that experience for some spiritually significant event. And in terms of enlightenment or being directly conscious of whatever's absolutely true, all of that is garbage. It's all crap. Every single last piece of experiential blah-de-blah that comes out of people's mouths, it's all shit. The most profound experience. Oh my God, I had an insight into the nature of the zoobity zippy dap, and this is that, and I'm making all these connections about the spiritual stuff that I heard from somewhere else, and my whole state changed, and I'm experiencing the world differently, and I am everything, and I'm nowhere, and all that shit is just more shit. I have heard it so much. I have seen it so much. I have gone through it so much myself. And I've done so much of that it's just like, okay, in that domain, all of that is just nonsense. As in, it's just more experience. Okay? Becoming directly conscious is that. It's getting what is absolutely true. And it has nothing to do with experience. And unfortunately, the only way that you can hear what I've just said is if you imagine something that matches what I've just said, which again is more experience. You will perceive that thought somehow. And that is not what I'm talking about, okay? So now let's see. So the reason I bring that up, I'm going to make up a reason here real quick, or not so quick, is I want to rip people off of making a bunch of shit up that they heard from somebody else. If you want to get what's true, it's not about making shit up. Because if you make stuff up, then the truth is you're making something up. And if you're making a bunch of connections where there aren't connections, then you are now making connections where there aren't connections. Again, making something up, which is to say you don't have to make something up, which is to say it doesn't exist until you make it up. So then it doesn't really exist. It's just made up. And then thought to be something that's not made up. The truth isn't made up. It's whatever is, right? Or wrong. See, it's just what's true. And you have to discover that, if you want to discover that. All right, but I've just seen so many people make up so much shit and believe it. I don't think that's worthwhile. It's not empowering in a certain way. Okay? Now, it does feel good to believe something. It does feel good to, have something to believe in. And a lot of people, it seems, they need that. And if you rip people off of their beliefs, especially if you do it too quickly, they might freak out. Or they just can't handle it. Can't handle the truth. Whatever that is. Right? And they can't handle losing their beliefs if they're attached to them. So I recommend not being too attached to the beliefs. Just, openly discover. All right, so now I bring that up mainly because of all of the crap that I see in spiritual worlds, spiritual communities. When people talk about chi and chakras as if they know what the fuck that is, and then they make up some stuff. And if you listen with a discerning ear, you can start to notice, oh, wow, yeah, they're basically just saying something that they've heard, or you listen to them, you might have some experience that sounds good, and you go along with it. Okay, if you want to go along with it, it's cool. I just don't care about that. And I can see that going along with that is, again, made up, or believing in that is, again, a belief, which is, again, made up. And then you're left with a belief system. And if you really want to know or dig into it, it does take some rigor, it takes some work, it takes you considering, and it takes you tossing off of all the crap that you've heard. And as far as I can tell, there's just a metric fuck ton of crap. All right? And people don't want to give up their crap either. I've got a hard enough time with my own shit. And I'm highly trained. Yeah. So anyway, that's probably more than you wanted to hear about Kundalini, Chi, Chakras, etc. Thank you for writing in. If you want to check the forum, if you want to check out the forum, there's links in the description. I use that to create content for you and also to hopefully serve others. So now, again, reiterating, this video is in service of you. If you want to get the truth about Kundalini, you got to tell the truth about it. If you want to get the truth about Chi, whatever that is, you got to really get honest and rigorous with your experience. And this video is in service of that. Now, if you want to have an awesome belief system about that, then go ahead and do that. But I don't support that. I support what you can really create, what you can make real. I want to support you to moving into what is most real or most powerful if you need power, or most free if you need freedom. That's my aim and goal. And it just so happens that it's much easier to do the believing. It's much harder to get it yourself. And then my last invitation is, again, to reiterate, since I don't sound like total fucking downer, is if Kundalini works for you, do that. If you feel great doing it, great. If you like Chi, good. Do some Chi stuff. Do some Tai Chi. Have those great experiences. Live that life. Just tell the truth about what you can do and what you can't do with that. And then be open to what is possible. And then you create it. You be the author of your experience rather than have somebody else tell you what's what. Yeah? So it's kind of like that. I'm serving like a pointer and then slap you around a little bit and have you go discover things, because that's what else are you going to do? Yeah? So cool. Thanks for writing in. If you want to get a little serious, hey, just check the links in the description. But the main thing is come to a workshop. We do workshops here, literally here. They're really powerful events. They are much better than watching a video if you want to take your stuff to the next level. If you're just liking the videos, cool. Enjoy. Yeah. All right, so I'm Brendan Lee with theBrendanLee.com in support of consciousness and skill worldwide, which is founded by my teacher and mentor, Peter Ralston. And keep kicking ass out there. Much love. Take care.